Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be. Psalm 139:16. Have you ever felt like your life is just a series of random events? Like maybe you're wandering through existence without any real purpose, direction, or significance? Have you ever looked in the mirror and wondered if your life actually matters? If anyone would even notice if you disappeared? Or if you're just taking up space on a planet that would be better off without you? If those thoughts have ever crossed your mind, then what I'm about to share with you will shatter every lie you've believed about your worth and purpose. Because this verse reveals something so incredible about your existence that it will change how you see yourself, your circumstances, and your future forever. Before your parents even met each other, God was already thinking about you. Before your DNA was formed, before your heart took its first beat, before you drew your first breath, God had already written an entire book about your life. Not a rough draft, not a general outline, a detailed, purposeful, intentional plan for every single day you would live on this earth. Think about what this means. Your birth wasn't an accident, even if it felt unplanned to your parents. Your personality isn't a mistake, even if others have criticized it. Your struggles aren't evidence that God forgot about you. They're part of the story He's writing through your life. Your dreams aren't too big. They were placed in your heart by the same God who wrote your destiny before time began. Every day you've lived, the good ones and the terrible ones, the victories and the failures, the moments of joy and the seasons of pain, all of them were written in God's book before you experienced even one of them. This doesn't mean you're just a robot following a script. It means you have a loving Father who knew exactly what you would need for each chapter of your life. And He's been preparing you, protecting you, and positioning you for purposes you're only beginning to discover. Right now, you might be in a chapter that doesn't make sense, that feels chaotic or painful or confusing. But what you're about to hear in this prayer will help you understand that even this chapter, especially this chapter, is part of a beautiful story that God is writing through your life. Father God, I come before you this morning with a heart that needs to understand how much thought, care, and intention you put into creating me and planning my life. I confess that sometimes I've felt like an accident, like my existence doesn't matter, like I'm just drifting through life without real purpose or significance. But your word reminds me that nothing about my life is random or meaningless. Lord, it's overwhelming to think that before I existed, you already knew everything about me. You knew what I would look like, how I would think, what would make me laugh, what would make me cry. You knew my strengths and my weaknesses, my talents and my struggles, my victories and my failures. And with all that knowledge, you still chose to bring me into existence because you had purposes for my life that only I could fulfill. God, I thank you that my days are ordained by you. This means that every day I wake up isn't just another random 24 hours to get through. It's a day that you specifically designed for me to experience, to grow, to impact others, to discover more about who you created me to be. Even the difficult days, the ones I wish I could skip or forget, are part of your perfect plan for developing my character and preparing me for my destiny. Father, I realize that when you wrote my story, you included every detail for a reason. The family I was born into, the place where I grew up, the experiences that shaped my childhood, none of these were accidents. You specifically chose these circumstances because they would give me exactly what I needed to become the person you designed me to be. Even the painful parts of my story have purpose and meaning in your plan. I surrender my need to understand everything about my life right now. I don't have to see the whole book to trust the author. I don't have to understand every chapter to believe that the story you're writing through my life is beautiful and meaningful. I choose to trust your timing, your methods, and your purposes, even when they don't make sense to my limited perspective. Lord, I ask you to help me see myself the way you see me. Help me to understand that I'm not a mistake, not a random occurrence, not an insignificant speck in a vast universe. I am a purposeful creation, carefully planned and lovingly designed by the God of all creation. My life has meaning because you gave it meaning. My existence has value because you determined it has value. Mighty God, I pray for revelation about the specific purposes you have for my life. I know that you didn't create me just to exist. You created me to make a difference, to impact others, to fulfill roles that no one else can fill in exactly the same way. Help me to discover the unique calling, the special mission, the particular contribution that you wrote into my story before I was born. Father, I lift up the dreams and visions that you've placed in my heart. Sometimes I've wondered if they're too big, too unrealistic, too far beyond my current circumstances. But I realize now that if you wrote my days before I lived them, then you also wrote these dreams into my story because you intend for them to come to pass. Help me to pursue them with faith and determination, knowing that you've already prepared the way. I pray for wisdom to understand the chapter I'm currently living. Whether it's a season of preparation, growth, challenge, or transition, help me to embrace it fully, knowing that it's exactly where I need to be right now. If I'm in a difficult chapter, remind me that hard chapters often set up the most beautiful plot twists. If I'm in a good chapter, help me to be grateful and to use this season to prepare for what's coming next. Lord, I ask you to heal any areas where I've been wounded by feeling unwanted, unloved, or insignificant. Maybe words were spoken over me that made me feel like a burden or a mistake. Maybe circumstances made me feel forgotten or abandoned. But your truth declares that I was wanted before I existed, loved before I was lovable, and chosen before I had done anything to earn your affection. God, I pray for the people you've written into my story. Help me to recognize divine connections, relationships that are meant to help me grow, or opportunities for me to help others grow. Let me be sensitive to the ways you want to use me in other people's stories, and help me to be open to the ways you want to use others in mine. Show me how to love, serve, and encourage the people you've placed in my life. I ask for patience during seasons when I can't see how my current circumstances connect to your larger plan for my life. Help me to trust that you're always working, even when I can't see evidence of it. Help me to believe that every experience, every relationship, every challenge, and every blessing is preparing me for something greater that you have planned. Father, I declare that my life is not a rough draft or a practice run. It's the real story that you're writing through me. Every day matters because you ordained it. Every experience has significance because you allowed it. Every relationship has purpose because you orchestrated it. I will not waste the precious gift of life that you've given me by living as if it doesn't matter. I choose to live with intention, knowing that my days are numbered and planned by you. I will not drift aimlessly through life, but I will seek your guidance for how to make each day count. I will not settle for mediocrity when you've called me to excellence. I will not hide my light under a bushel when you've designed me to shine in specific ways that can impact others. Lord, I ask you to give me glimpses of the eternal impact my life is having. Help me to see beyond the temporary, beyond the immediate, beyond what I can measure with human understanding. Show me how the seeds I'm planting today will grow into trees that provide shade for future generations. Let me understand that my life is part of a much larger story that you're writing throughout history. I pray for boldness to step into the fullness of who you created me to be. Help me to stop trying to be someone else, stop comparing my story to others' stories, stop wishing I had been given a different plot. My story is unique because I am unique. My purpose is specific because you designed me specifically. My calling is special because you have special plans for my life. God, I thank you for seeing me before I could see myself, for loving me before I could love you back, for planning my life before I could make plans for myself. I thank you for writing a story through my life that is far better than anything I could have written for myself. I trust your authorship completely, knowing that you never write meaningless stories. As I go into this day, I carry the confidence that comes from knowing I'm exactly where I need to be in my story. This day was written for me, prepared for me, designed for me to experience and to grow and to contribute something meaningful to the world. I will not waste it by worrying about tomorrow or regretting yesterday. I will embrace today as the gift it is. Thank you for making my life matter. Thank you for giving me purpose before I was born. Thank you for writing a story through my life that will impact others in ways I may never fully understand. I am not an accident. I am a masterpiece. I'm not random. I'm intentional. I'm not insignificant. I'm essential to your plan. I will live like someone whose story matters because it does. I will love like someone who was created on purpose because I was. I will serve like someone who has a unique role to play because I do. My life is not my own. It's a gift from you to the world, and I will steward it with gratitude and purpose. Amen. Your life is not an accident. It's a masterpiece that God has been writing since before time began. Every day you live is a page in a beautiful story that only you can tell. You are not random, insignificant, or forgotten. You are purposeful, valuable, and deeply loved by the God who saw you before anyone else did. If this prayer reminded you of your incredible worth and purpose, hit that like button and share this with someone who needs to know their life matters. Subscribe for daily prayers that will remind you of God's amazing plans for your life. Comment, "My story matters," below. If you believe God has written something beautiful through your life, remember, you're not reading someone else's story. You're living the exact story God wrote specifically for you, and every chapter has purpose and meaning.